Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. Clock is ticking on incredible savings on G3 and Suncatcher pontoons. Instant rebates right now through May 12th. Folks, they're up to $6,000 in instant rebates. Bob Hodge just twitched. I know you're thinking about it. Yeah, $6,000 instant rebate.
Got to make a move before I retire.
There you go. G3 and Suncatcher pontoons. Instant rebates right now through May 12th. There's no better place to buy a boat, especially right now. Madisonville Marine, madmarine.com. Get down and see them. All right. Back with Will, Ryan, Bob. When we talk recruiting, it now always goes back to NIL. It's all anybody talks about. Lots of fans expected Tennessee to take over the world on that front, and they certainly jumped out of the gate with the Nico Iamaleava deal. David Ubben, who, by the way, congratulations to David and his wife. They just had a second child. Congratulations. David broke that story, and we talked about it here on the show after he put it on The Athletic. It was really the first most fans had ever talked about collectives. Hell, it was the first time most of us in the media had talked about it. And everybody was like, wow, we're going to be kings of the world. Columns were written, the stories were written that, boy, the Tennessee fan base is going to tear this up. You came on almost immediately and said, yeah, you better take advantage now because everyone's going to be there. You nailed it because now everyone is there. Everybody's kind of caught up. My question is, where does Tennessee rank in the SEC in terms of NIL? When you go, and it depends on the sport too, but where are they in terms of overall NIL dollars? And I'll start with you. About like anybody else, are they above? Are they below? Where are they?
I think they're top third of the SEC. I think they're solidly in that top 5 or so in the conference. But again, it's a level playing field now, or much more level playing field. So what NIL has become, I think people had this idea that Tennessee coming in, they got this head start on everybody. They're going to be the big stack bully at the poker table, and they're just going to win every battle that they really want to win. You can't really do that. You have to pick your spots. You have to choose who's more important to you. So what NIL has become is Missouri being able to use a lot of money to go get Williams Nwaneri, one of the top defensive linemen in the country. You end up keeping the guys that you want in state a lot of times that are prioritized by other schools by NIL. And Mississippi's done it with some guys. Mississippi State, you've got the ability to keep your guys home, but then you also have the ability to go win an occasional big battle out of state too. But it's also not the cure-all for everything. You can't use just NIL to win. You've got to have the whole program to sell. NFL background, you've got to have the history of putting guys in the draft. So it's not going to win every battle for you, and that's the other problem. But the playing field's level, and you're running into more competition now. And
interesting to me, I don't know how many people have talked about the NCAA this week. Everybody keeps thinking, well, they're just going to back down and die and go away. Yeah. They came out this week and said, all right, we're looking at a couple of these schools that have whole team NIL deals. Mm-hmm. Which is interesting. They're just going to wind up in another court battle.
Oh, yeah.
But
another court battle they lose.
Yeah, they lose. But it is interesting. You've got to decide, do we go after the portal guys? Do we go after recruits? Do we pay our own guys? Yep. And then you've only got so much money. Yep. And you got to make sure that this guy doesn't get mad because somebody else. We've seen that where this lineman wants to make what all the other linemen are making. Oh, he's not going to get it? Then I'm going to transfer again. Gerald Mincy. Yeah. But you've seen that over and over again. Will, what do you feel about Tennessee and their NIL business?
I think that what Ryan said is about right. The top third of the SEC, I think that's where Tennessee is. Probably top 5 or 6, somewhere in that neighborhood. They're not above the top teams. I think there are teams that are ahead of them right now. But they have enough NIL money to do the work that they need to do to get better. This year you signed the first class of the high schoolers or recruits that was in the blue chip ratio since 2019. You're moving in that direction, but you don't have so much NIL that you get to jump line. That's the thing I think maybe some fans misunderstand.
Right. Blue chip ratio, for those that don't know, it's basically if you have a percentage of your team that is 4 and 5 stars, it means you're one of those teams that could compete for a national title. And it pretty much holds true year after year that the national title winner has this ratio, and Tennessee's finally back into that ballpark. Bob, I want to ask you just about NIL in general. Eventually I think all of us agree that players are probably going to be employed by the schools, and then the NIL is taken care of. It's now going to be their employees. However, let's say that doesn't happen. My question for you, or just if we look at the next 4 or 5 years in the interim, if it takes that long, my question for you is, people really jumped into the NIL thing? Ooh, cool, we can buy our own team. Do you think that's going to continue? Because I look at it, and I think those numbers are going to drop, personally. Reason being, you can only win 2 championships now if you're in the SEC. There is no East, there is no West. You're going for the SEC title, you're going for a national title. That's it. There's 16 teams in this league going for those 2 things. And most years, if you win one, you're probably going to win the other or be in the ballpark. So
gonna
you're
be
talking
in-
one
yep.
team a year. I just don't see all these boosters at all schools out there saying, yeah, I'm going to keep plopping down money. You plop down big bucks and you come back 9-3. Nah, that's all right. Big bucks, 10-2. Big bucks, 8-4. I want a title. And I just wonder, so many teams aren't going to win titles. Is there going to be a time where people just start saying, it's not worth my money? That's what I think is going to happen. Am I wrong?
I'm going to go 75% that you're right. I think you've got boosters who are there.
No matter what.
They're going to be there. You're going to get that amount of money. Now, where does the money go? Okay, I'm giving for you to expand the stadium. I'm giving for you to redo Thompson Bowling.
Vol
That gives
Scholarship
less-
Fund.
Yes, that gives me less to give to the collective and go out and buy players. But I do think that there are some people out there, you have got to show progress. And then what is the definition of progress? If it is win the SEC or national title, okay, then you're talking about 2 or 3 schools in the SEC that right now are always going to be there. What do you do to get up there? Well, you've got to have more money, and then it just starts the dog chasing its tail that you're talking about. So I think, yeah, eventually some of that fatigue will set in, but I also think you do have people, they're going to be there for you regardless. Yeah. I wouldn't give condos to tennis players, but I would give money for football players.
Yeah, I think there are, take the Haslams out of it, and that's Tennessee's traditional big booster, but take that out of it, or Bobby Louder, who was for years the guys down at Auburn. Take those, I think that's the right name.
It is.
Yeah, getting old. But you take those out of it. It's the guys who are below that. I just wonder, is NIL counting on those guys to give X every year? Every year we're coming back to you because the university does. And I just wonder if they're going to continue to do that every year, or if it's going to be, okay, if you come to me with a flashy quarterback, then I'm in. But
Right.
I'm not buying another lineman for you to go out there and not win a title.
Will we also see our generation, John, want to spend money like our parents' generation did, right? As the baby boomers start to pass away, I don't know that the Gen Xers are going to do it. I don't know that the millennials are going to do it. One, we don't have as many wealthy people, but you look at Tennessee right now, I mean, who are the billionaires in their 40s and 50s right now who are dropping big checks for Tennessee and want to be important and want to run through the T? We just don't see that as much.
It's one reason I give Danny White credit, though. You've lost, and the concern has been what happens when Jimmy Haslam takes his money. Jim Haslam is no longer the big guy. Jimmy has taken his money to Cleveland. What happens then at Tennessee? And for years they went after Charlie Ergen, Dish Network, and but Danny White had a financial windfall a couple years ago, just bringing in small donors.
Yep.
The grassroots donors. Everybody in politics wants those guys. Well, they want any dollar, but they always brag about those guys. He was able to get that, which I think is big. But you do wonder how much people are going to continue to say, yes, I'm giving money to an athletic department, especially when, if I give it to UT, it's a tax write-off.
Yep.
If I give it to a collective, it is not.
But we'll just hit on something, though. There is ego that goes into this. And a lot of these people want to be a player in these things. And so that might keep that wheel rolling a little bit longer because you don't want to be the guy that's no longer in the club. So that may help you out a little bit.
Is there a point where it drops or no? Does it keep growing up?
I'll say this: there's all kinds of concern nationally that the donor fatigue is going to be a real issue. They just don't know at what point. Will it be 5 years from now, 10 years, 2 years? They're all sort of afraid to spend all their money because I think they don't know when that's going to hit, and they don't want to be unprepared for that. But it's something that I think you're fine. Ohio State goes out and spends a bunch of money this year. They're trying to get back to the top. If your fan base is hungry to take another step, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's the program that's leveled off, or the program that wins championships every year. Those are the challenges, I think. Can you keep people donating when the hunger is not there from the fan base?
Yeah, I don't see it being a steady wave year after year and it continues to grow. I would think the steady wave would continue to drop a little just because, again, you've now got basically 5 titles you can win in college football.
Yeah.
ACC, Big 10, SEC, Big 12, and obviously teams in those conferences can just win one of those and the national title. There's not a lot of gold trophies to win anymore, and because of that, what am I giving my money for?
Does a playoff appearance replace the conference title? And that's the one thing that I wonder if that will play a part.
And my guess is it's going to be.
Or does it replace the division title?
Yes, maybe so.
My guess is it's going to be like the NCAA tournament where
Yeah.
people sit here and go, Sweet 16. We never get past the Sweet 16. When's the Elite Eight?
Yeah.
We made the Elite Eight. Yeah, well, where's the Final Four? We'll see. I don't know. All right. The goalposts always seem to keep being moved. When we come back, let's look at UT's draft numbers versus the SEC since Heupel arrived. Let's talk talent. Come on back on the Sports Source.